no hat.
I don't want people to see me without
God damn it.
It's just, oh, wow. I thought you're putting a mask on. I thought you're throwing on like a ski mask.
I gotta look like a hipster-ish.
Hipster.
Makes my head look a little less fat.
It's so choice.
You look definitely so choice.
How dare you tease
You look
me
like you're robbing a bacon thing.
True story. When I went to Portland over the summer, our Uber driver, when I was asking for advice in Portland, she dropped "so choice" 4 times.
Son of a mother.
It always starts out west and then it moves into the Midwest. So like,
Fetch is not happening, okay? All right? Fetch is not happening.
not fetch, dude. It's so choice, bro. Come on. Get the fuck out.
All right, my show.
It's your
My
show.
I got
It's your
a
show.
couple points of banter. Number one, I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast the other day.
For 8 hours.
No, actually, I've been deleting a lot of episodes. I'm not totally interested. And then he had Evander Holyfield on.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm like, all right, I've got to listen to the real deal. I gotta check this out, or whatever. And he's gushing because he's a big fight fan or whatever. And they're talking about a bunch of stuff. And Evander Holyfield's like giving some great insight. Like you grew up watching these champion fighters, and it's like it's cool to hear them talk for an hour and 20 minutes. He said, "My mama said." 100 times. And I'm thinking Evander Holyfield is the character that Bobby Boucher was based upon. I'm convinced. I couldn't stop listening to him say, my mama said this or whatever. And I'm thinking, shit, someone knew that. Somebody in Hollywood told Adam Sandler that and was like, oh shit, I'm going to make the character.
Did he say that alligators are ornery because they got so many teeth and no toothbrush? Is that thrown out there?
He might have. It was early. I'm not sure I didn't have enough coffee by then, but it was amazing to me. I was like, oh shit. And I thought like, oh man, but I thought maybe it's like a Southern thing, but I'm thinking, no, it's not a Southern thing. It's Evander Holyfield's thing and also Bobby Boucher's thing because they're the same fucking person. Second, I'm at work the other day. I'm not going to tell the story about when I shit my pants at work. Fuck you guys.
That's a good story.
So I went in the bathroom. I'll tell that some other time, not tonight.
That's a good one.
I went in the bathroom, and I get in there, and I'm done, and there's no one in there. I'm going to wash my hands. And I blew a gigantic fucking fart. Okay?
Beautiful.
So my question...
Congratulations.
Thank you. My question is this. How long
You're going to say how long you have to wait until someone walks into it and you can enjoy their reaction.
No.
It depends on how busy your office is. That's it. But usually like 40, 50 seconds. But yeah, you hang out.
Okay, I went
Really?
90 seconds.
And no one walked in.
So you're
No one
washing
walked
your
in.
hands.
I just chilled there for a minute and a half to make sure all the essence dissipated before I went back in.
See,
No,
I don't
is that too much?
Yeah,
It's
it's a
way too
bathroom.
long.
Are you expecting the bathroom to smell good?
No, I'm worried about it coming with me and going in.
I'm fine with you staying in there for 90 seconds in hopes that someone walks into it. In hopes that someone walks into it. I know you're a crop duster, so I feel like...
I used to be. Okay, so this. All right, we'll get into this real quick, and then we'll get to the actual topic. I used
Like,
to love.
literally, we're like 3 minutes away from the shit your pants story.
My summer. I used to love like going to Vegas and you'd be fucked up or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I'd walk through the pit and I'd just shit my pants right in the face. I was like, this is
Really good airflow in the casino.
not good.
When
When it gets right in there for you, man.
Oh, you know we're at the dingiest fucking...
I was gonna say
Oh,
what
yeah.
we have.
Oh, you know we're at the dingiest fucking...
I was gonna say
Oh,
what
yeah.
we have Fitzgerald's
I love Joe, sort of a secondary character
secondary care. Yeah.
that you would like to see a TV show or movie built upon that character instead. So, like, they were a secondary character in some main show or something that you really enjoyed, but you'd like to see their story explored.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I mean, I'll go first.
Go
Do
first,
it,
myself.
because I'm probably the weakest one out of them. But my secondary character that I feel like we need to know the backstory, not even the backstory, but just more about the story, is fucking Silent Bob.
Ooh,
We know
Silent
absolutely
Bob.
nothing
That's a
about
good one.
Silent Bob.
Yeah.
He is with Jay, right? And like, I don't know if they live together. I don't know what the deal is, but he's well read. He always speaks when he needs to like talk about what is what he's talking
whatever the
about,
topic is.
and
He
it's
just jump
always
in.
brilliant. So what does this guy do when he's not selling drugs in front of a quickie mart?
And Jay's such
Or
a
the
jackass.
movies. Yeah,
Right? Like, why is he with Jay here? Like,
I mean-
what's the connection?
Yeah,
with-
good call.
why do we have you in the group? We need a jackass around to go with the good guys. Or why am I in the group? I'm the jackass that goes with the good.
Sure, but we got
It just
plenty of
is.
your bullshit backstory from the hard streets of Sterling.
But that's not.
We don't know why
We
Silent
don't
Bob
thirst for that, actually.
is out there doing that.
I
it
never
just doesn't
said
make
that the
sense.
Sterling streets were bad.
You talked about gangs.
Talking about
People
the-
tweeted at us, it's like, there's gangs in Sterling.
There is gangs in Sterling.
Everyone's making it. My sex is making it sound like it's a fucking war zone.
I never said that at all. I said I knew a guy that got shot in one about Silent Bob.
I do too.
I want to
I'm-
know
I'm with
what he
you.
does. Why does he wear the trench coat? All that shit.
I would love the backstory. That'd be
Yeah.
a fantastic
It'd be a
backstory.
good
I'd be down.
For sure.
Josh, what do you got, man?
I'm going to go with a cop out. For those that are big Game of Thrones fans, Robert's Rebellion would make for a great show.
That would be awesome.
And I think Robert's
And they're not
Rebellion.
going to do it. It's not in the cards for what
And
they're going to do.
my
Who's
theory
Robert's
is that George R. R. Martin is afraid that if you do Robert's Rebellion, everyone will be like, "That's way better than Game of Thrones was. Way better."
Who was he? Who was
So
he?
Robert
he's
Baratheon
basically
is
the
the-
beginning.
Yeah, he's the original king. He's the fat
Oh, okay.
king. That he goes to Winterfell, and
So it'd be a prequel. You'd be
It would-
prequeling
it'd be a
all that.
prequel.
It'd be a prequel,
That's
but
who
like
Lannister
a
kills.
direct
Jamie Lannister
prequel.
kills.
A direct, it would lead right into the shit.
Right
Uh,
up to the
no, Robert Baratheon got killed by a boar.
Okay.
by a boar.
He was poisoned by the cousin Lannister, Lancel, with the wine, and then got too drowsy, couldn't kill a boar, so the boar killed him.
Oh, okay.
But for those that don't
That's how most people die.
exactly. For those that didn't read the books, with Robert's Rebellion, it would be a prequel, but it would connect a lot of dots. Like, how did Cersei become queen? And why did Oberyn Martell hate the Lannisters? And a lot of people would even hate the Lannisters even more if Robert's Rebellion became true, because you would see them sad. And then, very similar to how Daenerys pretty much burnt down King's Landing, like not always good in a good view. And then of course you have the Starks and trying to find what was her name? It starts with an L. Lyanna Stark. But we saw that with the cool
They go
sword
back in
battle.
time, yeah.
So that's my cop out. It was written in the books, but it doesn't sound like HBO's going to do it. But I think if they did Robert's Rebellion, people would love that shit.
Yeah, I think that'd be huge. That'd be
It's
awesome.
interesting. Like that would such a huge franchise already. Why wouldn't you want to build off that? Like,
Right, and I think they're going to go way back to try
Yeah,
to to
the first
like
men.
1,000 years
Yeah.
before it. They're going to try. That's going to be the prequel,
Yeah.
which is I don't know that people are going to be that interested because it's not going to tie too directly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem that people like. You could either tie like way too directly, and then it's a character that like you already know too much about that you don't care, and you're like, I don't need all this information. Or you could go so far away that it's like, yeah, this is a different show, and
Right.
it has to be great on its own.
Robert's Rebellion would also feature a pretty badass one-on-one fight scene between Robert Baratheon and Aegon Targaryen, the Battle of Trident. That pretty much decides the war.
And they're trying to go back to like the early Targaryens to do their
Yeah,
prequel,
for
and
the
that's
first
not gonna-
men, this is how the White Army became to be. The original Bran Stark who built the wall. Yeah, not as interesting as I think.
It's
so.
way background that you don't necessarily.
So someone could watch that, have no knowledge of Game of Thrones, and it would be fine.
It would be like a totally separate.
There's not enough connections.
That's like Frasier, but but different.
Robert's Rebellion would be like Better Call Saul.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah,
a Breaking
exactly.
Bad fan,
Exactly. It would be very tied in where like you could have some of the same characters and like a lot of overlap. And this we do go 1,000 years back. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Did you watch El Camino?
I haven't seen it yet.
I have not watched it. We're gonna go back through some of the old episodes. And
I was going to reach out to the Twitter folk and ask if I should invest the 2 hours on El Camino.
I think
because-
I definitely will.
Absolutely.
Which series do you like better, Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad?
Oh, they're both
So-
really good in their own right, though.
I'm a huge Bob Odenkirk fan, so
Yeah.
my opinion doesn't count here. Like I love that guy so much, and I'm behind on Better Call Saul. So like, but yeah, he's just so good. Like
It's a good
when
show.
he joined the show, I was like over the moon of like,
Mhm.
yes, fucking Bob Odenkirk. But so I love Better Call Saul. Breaking Bad's an all-time great show.
It is.
So. And so we're actually going through the last season right now to just get caught up. Just
So
remember
fucked up.
back to all that stuff. Because
Yeah.
it is crazy. The last
Yeah.
fucking season, we actually just finished the episode where Hank knows.
Yep.
Right? And so they're in the garage, and Hank's like, I don't even know who you are. And the response in that scene and the way that they filmed it and they shot it, where he tells him, like, if you don't know who I am, I would advise you to tread lightly. It's just such a stunning scene. It's so perfect, and the way he delivers it, it's just fucking awesome. And like, I'm like, oh shit, I got like 5 more episodes to go
Right.
before we get to the end of this crazy shit. And
What a
it's
great moment though when Hank connects the dots,
Oh,
sitting
my
on the
God.
toilet,
Sitting
in the bathroom to come
Clean
full
the hole.
circle.
that's where I connect most of my dots.
That's no question.
That's where my whole David Price trade came from.
Ah.
That's where that was.
Makes
spawned.
sense. Makes sense.
B-Flip, what do you got, man?
I'm if nothing, I'm a romantic for old gambling movies. So I'd like what would be the equivalent of a Rounders prequel, in which we dig into Kanish
Oh,
and how he built up becoming a professional poker player, and then also how he ends up meeting Mike McD and the interactions and how he shows him his plays and do all that stuff. It would be totally boring to the average person, but to me it would be super fucking interesting. I would love to see sort of how does one in, let's say, that movie takes place, I guess, late 90s, early 2000s. So Kanish has been playing for, let's say, 20 years. How does someone in 1982 or something like that become a professional poker player? How do they end up doing that for their entire living? We lived in an era in which, yes, it's very possible, especially when online was available, you could do lots of different things to sort of make a living doing that. But someone like that had to go out there and like find games. And a lot of the thing is, in which, this is written up in certain places, but it's not romanticized enough, is like just building relationships, being able to get yourself into a game, which is good,
and not getting kicked out of it.
not getting kicked out of there, being enough of a sport, being enough of there's a friendly person that wants to be in this game and like having fun with all that stuff. It's kind of like the way the rest of life works. When online poker happened, all the people that had no personality could make a living for a little while and grind up all that shit. And so it'd be interesting to me to like sort of see the New York scene in the early 80s and see how someone would like figure out how this is what their calling is, basically.
Grinding it out on my leather ass.
That's-
A movie.
That's right. That's right.
I'm in. I want to watch it. I want to
New
watch
York
it.
in the 80s poker scene. A little bit different than American Psycho.
Well, see, the 80s poker
Not
scene,
that
like,
different.
but yeah, there's probably a lot of crossovers.
There's some
with the
crossover.
Patrick-
Patrick
Patrick Damon just shows up.
Well, no, because you're going to be playing against those coke maniacs.
Those are the guys that you're
That's where
hoping
you
dump
take
in
the
your
money
game.
from.
Those are the guys you're
Yeah.
hoping lose in your game.
Wall
And
Street executives.
Exactly. Those are
And
the people you want to
You're
draw.
playing in the back of the places that they're going to in that movie, basically.
Right.
You know, like all that shit that they're going to, like the ridiculous clubs and everything.
Yeah,
The back of that place is where your game is happening.
right.
And those coked out maniacs coming back there, and you're taking them for enough money to not upset a coked out maniac.
Enough to
tough.
keep them coming back.
Right.
Enough to have them come back again.
Not going to split your head with an axe.
The golf
That's right,
pros,
yeah.
they got the golf pros in the movie, but in the back in the day, those golf pros were coked out fucking assholes,
That's true.
which is basically how America works.
Dreezy, how about you, baby?
So the first guy that I thought of, because I'm thinking not only like when you're doing a spinoff, right? One of the problems you have is like you have to retain that actor, right? Like you got to go like, oh, this guy, he was in this popular show.
Mhm.
Now I've got to
Boy.
pay him X to be in this whatever show that we're spinning off. You know who you don't got to pay? A guy they never showed in the fucking show. One Bob Sacamano. We're gonna do the backstory of Kramer's buddy, Bob Sacamano. He's mentioned in countless episodes of
That's
Seinfeld,
true.
Yeah.
but never shown. And he seems to be very, very interesting. So a Bob Sacamano show would be awesome. You only have to nail down Michael Richards.
It's
Which- pretty cheap nowadays.
That's where I thought you were going. Yeah, that's exactly
He may
where
have-
you were going.
He may have lowered his price.
He might have done some.
And in fact, you're probably going to do a backstory, so you just need some goofy motherfucker that looks a little bit like him.
yeah,
And the beautiful thing about the Kramer character is that Kramer is a hipster. And now I can't walk 5 feet with running into a fucking hipster. So there's 1,400,000 guys that are Kramer now.
Right.
And
Hipster
you could just bring in, they already have the full wardrobe. You don't even have to do anything. So I would do the Bob Sacamano show.
The executive.
It would be fucking awesome. He'd be selling the rat hair hats
Yes.
and all that shit. And the Willards.
The Willards.
It's got the whole bit. I'm in for that. I want to watch that.
You brought it up this week, the Kenny Rogers Roasters episode. You
Yes.
said you were that
Because
fried.
I'm on no
And
sleep.
when Jerry walks into the apartment and goes, I saw my friend Bob Sacamano. And they're like, I didn't know you were friends. Well, he called at 2 a.m. last night. We got to talking. He sells those down on 35th and blah, blah, blah. You know, and you're just like, oh. Yeah, no, that's great. That's a good call. I thought you were going directly to Kramer because he's a cheap hire. Yeah.
Well, no,
He's definitely,
Tighter than-
he
no,
can definitely
tighter
tie it in.
Kramer did have the show right after Seinfeld, and it was really terrible. I
Didn't
watched
go
every
well.
episode.
I was gonna say.
I watched every fucking
You were in
episode.
on it.
I watched as many episodes of
Kramer
that
had a show?
as I watched
post-Seinfeld? Was it a
games
Kramer
of the
show?
original XFL. And let me just tell you, I'm in for the new XFL. And there's a Trestman team.
Tampa Bay Vipers.
That's our team.
Did you see who the defensive coordinator?
Jerry freaking
Yes!
Glanville. I didn't even know he was alive.
Oh my god! So it's hilarious that you said that because our buddy sent the graphic, and I responded,
Atlanta
and I was like, is that the
Leather
Jerry
jacket,
Glanville?
dude. Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, Jerry Glanville's the defense coordinator. I was like, I feel bad. I assumed he was dead.
Right.
I absolutely thought
His
he was
press
dead.
conference
What's
is
he
there's
look
two
like?
players you need. You need quarterbacks and you need corners. If you don't have either of them, you better tell your wife to get a job at Walmart because you're going to be unemployed. Like that is Jerry.
It's awesome. I love it. He's like 78 years old.
Yeah, he's old as
Fucking right.
hell. Like, what does he know? And the funny thing is, his
He knows to
teams,
leave 2 tickets for Elvis.
That's right. He does know
his teams
that.
could not play defense. When you go, the Atlanta
That
Falcons,
is true. You're
run and
running
shoot, Jeff George.
You're like, who knows defense? The run and shoot guy. That's who I'm gonna get.
Listen, he doesn't look that bad. If these are legit
Yeah.
pictures, he doesn't really look
He's
that
still wearing the
bad.
cowboy hat.
Yep. Doesn't even
That's
look
all
that
he's
bad.
wearing. That's
Literally,
That's how the XFL is.
Poor,
As
poor
old
Cub
as
is looking
he
it
looks
up right now.
when he was in the NFL.
Yeah.
Those are the old pictures, but like I feel like that's a recent. Well,
I think he coached at like Portland State or something like
That's-
that. too.
That's your path to the XFL.
Evidently.
yeah.
What's your
Ty
credentials?
Hamilton, Tigers
I
fans.
coached above high school. You're hired.
We need you.
Oh, hey, Robin Ventura didn't have those credentials, and he got hired.
That's true.
That is true.
Well,
That
he-
is
He had
unfortunate.
to
But
make
he
these
will.
a 4-star general.
He will be on the new network reading overnight for 5 hours at a time. All right, guys. Good night. We'll see you soon.